Hi team, good evening and welcome to day 2 of security testing. Yesterday, just to give an overview, yesterday we have seen the basics of all protocols, how it works, in particular HTTP and HTTPS. I hope you are all excited for today's session. Today it's going to be more of a practical session or a lab oriented session of what we have seen yesterday. Along with that, we will also install a sample application on which we would be working on. In addition to that, we will also be seeing the technique parameter tampering. What is that all about? And also we will do the hands-on related to that particular topic. So, very first thing of today's agenda is web application proxy usage. This is one of the key concepts we need to understand today so that we will be able to use the proxy seamlessly going forward. So what is a proxy server? What is a proxy? Proxy is, the word says it also. That's the beauty of this IT industry. Like the word itself contains the meaning. So proxy server, it acts on somebody else's behalf. So what we are trying to do here is that we have the web, that is the client, that is the browser. So for example, we are all just trying to do google.com. We are trying to access a google.com, the web page. So we are the clients. And it hits the server, isn't it? Usually it hits the web server and fetches the data. That's what we have seen yesterday. A client, whenever we are trying to access, it goes to the web server and fetches the data for us. Similarly, now what we are trying to do is that we are trying to bypass, or we are trying to intercept the traffic between this web client and the web server using a web proxy. Okay, web client and web server using a proxy. So what happens now when we intercept? All the traffic that comes from the client to the web server is being intercepted. Similarly, whatever coming from the web server, the response, if whatever the response be it whatsoever may be the response, it comes from the server and hits the web proxy. Web proxy again, it forwards it. This is the same technique that has been used by all the big corporates. Like if you go to your internet option, you will be seeing a proxy settings. That proxy might or might not allow few websites. We would have seen that in, if you are in an organization, probably they would have blocked these social networking sites as Facebook, Orkut or YouTube. So that is the setting of the proxy. Proxy will not allow, it will filter the packet. Whatever it is there, it will filter those package and then it will not allow you to hit this web server. And similarly, whatever the response is coming from the web server is being filtered. So it acts as a interceptor between the client and the server. Alright. So what we are going to do today is we will just try and install a web proxy or a proxy with which we will be able to intercept the request and catch what actually is happening, and then we will forward it, or we will do the manipulation so that we can perform the attack. I hope you have understood the basic overview of proxy. Are we all on same page? So this is the basic that we would be working on for today's session. So I hope you all have understood what this proxy all about and how it would be used. Fantastic. So let's keep going. What we are going to do today is the next thing. We would be having a proxy. So what proxy that we are going to use today is the Burp suite. Alright, Burp suite. It is, what is the Burp suite? So it is an integrated platform for attacking web applications. It also acts as a proxy in the sense it analyzes the HTTP request. Proxy, it's on a very high level term, but what is the actual functionality of Burp suite? is what we need to understand. Okay, Burp Suite is a tool that we are going to use for performing the attacks. I hope you are getting the point here. Burp Suite is a tool that we would be using going forward for performing the attacks. I hope participants have been asking about the tools, what tool we have been using or what tool we would be using. So this is one of the tools that we would be using for the session. Okay, Burp Suite is one of the tools. Alright. So what is Burp Suite all about? It is a platform for attacking web applications. It also has a feature wherein it has a capability to scan the total web application and then convey to the user what are all the possible threats or the security vulnerabilities in the application. It scans the application and also it gives us the result. But it depends on the license agreement. Okay. It also has got a manual as well as a automated technique with which we can exploit a web application. In the sense we can perform the attacks. Okay. Burp Suite is a collection of tools. Once we launch Burp Suite, you will know how exactly the tool looks like or what are the features of this particular tool. And we will be able to find a lot of other useful information and tools with which we can perform the attacks very effectively. Okay. So let's keep moving on. First thing is for us is to download the Burp Suite proxy. Burp Suite proxy, as we have discussed, it is the tool that we are going to use it for web application security testing. Okay. So if you go to portsfigure.net download, there are two versions, two editions. One is the free edition and one is the professional edition. You can see the features very clearly. What are the features that are allowed in a free edition and also what are the features that are allowed in a professional edition. If you see the Burp scanner, which is an automatic scanner, it is available only in the professional edition. And save and restore, target analyzer, content discovery, task scheduler, all these advanced options are there in professional edition. We will walk through each one of these features as and when we go through the session. Okay. But free edition has got all these features: proxy, Burp proxy, spider, repeater, sequencer, decoding and encoding. We will also see that in detail, and Burp comparer. Alright. So you download it. Once you download it, you will be having a jar file, that is a Java archive file. So it is like an executable jar file. So once you double click on this particular thing, it launches. Okay. It is a Java archive file. It is developed in Java. Initially, so you can have, there are two flavors as we have seen. The one which we are going to use is the free edition. Okay. And the version is 1.5. And this is how the tool looks like. Okay. Moment you launch it, this is how the tool looks like. Okay. What are all the things that we need to configure in order to effectively use this particular tool, or in order for us to make the tool to get ready for the attacks? What are all the things that we need to do? Okay. First things first. Once we are launched with the Burp Suite, we will first get into the scope. Okay. Scope. Before going to the scope, first let's get into the proxy. Intercept is on. What it means? If I say intercept is on, it will just capture the traffic only if intercept is on. Intercept is on is nothing but switching on your proxy. Only if your intercept is on, you will be able to capture or intercept your request and response from the client and server. Okay. So we have switched on the intercept. That's the first thing that we need to do. Alright. Next, go to options. In options, if you see here, which port your Burp Suite is listening to, it is listening to port 8080. What it means? It is listening to the port 8080. So we will get back to this particular. So your Burp proxy is listening to the port number 8080. Okay, your port 8080. So what we need to do, we need to ensure that our browsers are pointing to this proxy setting. In the sense, our browsers are listening to this proxy. They should not bypass the proxy, or else we will not be able to intercept the traffic. That's what we have been seeing, right? The concept is very clear. Whenever we need to intercept, we need to ensure that we need to make our browsers listen to this particular proxy. The proxy is listening at the port 8080. Proxy is listening at the port 8080. See here, it's very clear. 127.0.0.1 is our local host IP address. Is our local host IP address. What is a local host IP address? IP address of local host. That is your local system, your laptop, or that particular machine. Local host IP address is that particular machine, or machine address is 127.0.0.1. Okay, and the port in which it is listening to is 8080. This is the port and this is the IP address. You can also replace this with local host. Local host is 127.0.0.1. So we have brought up this particular web server, what is a Burp suite on in this particular port. Okay, fine. Now the next thing that we need to do is launch your browser. What browser that I would use for the complete testing purpose is Mozilla. I will just use Mozilla for all our application web security testing related purpose. So let's get into tools, options, and we will ensure that we are pointing to the Burp suite proxy. Okay, 127.0.0. I am listening to Burp suite proxy. See here, 8080. I will click OK. There is also, you can also do one other way of doing it. There is a Loca proxy. It is a plugin within Mozilla, that is Loca proxy. I'll just note it down here so that you can. Loca proxy or proxy. Switch proxy is one other tool. Switch proxy is one other plugin in Mozilla. So you can install this so that you can effectively switch between. I will just enable or disable proxy here. So it is very easy for me to enable or disable the proxy here. Fine. Now we have switched on the proxy. That's all fine. What we need to do next thing is to add a target scope. Okay. Before that we will just see what is that. So now what we will do, I will just try to access google.com. What happened immediately is that moment I click on google.com, see here Burp switch started blinking. There is a proxy. See here, proxy turned to orange color. Proxy turned to orange color. You click on this particular thing. The thing is that we have intercepted successfully. Are you able to see? We have intercepted the packet of data. See here, it's still going on and on. The reason is it is still the traffic is holding in the proxy. Unless we forward it, it will not be able to get the response. Okay, I repeat, I have just hit google.co.in or google.co. whatever may be the website. What happened immediately? We have intercepted the traffic because the intercept was on. Now we have intercepted that packet of data. We will analyze this data in a short while. However, the agenda or the significance of current module or what the topic that we are talking about is to understand how to intercept or how to configure the Burp suite so that we can use Burp suite effectively. So we have browsed this particular page. We have, because the intercept was on, in the sense we have intercepted our request between the client and the web server. We have intercepted this request. Alright. Now we will forward. As soon as we forward it, what happens? Again, it is having one other packet of data that it has got, get google.co.in, and again it is trying to get something else. Fine, forward it. Post, it is using various other methods to get the particular requests. So once all the requests are done, finally what we are getting is the response. You can see this is the response from this particular website. Okay, response from this particular website. So response, we always know whatever the response is, it will start with, we will analyze the packet of data, we will just forward it. Okay, once you complete forwarding all those packets of data, okay, there are, see, you can see it is coming packet by packet. That's the reason why you are seeing it is intercepted with so many requests, right? It is, we have intercepted the request by packet because it sends the data in packets. See here, now we have successfully got the google.com homepage, right? What we have done so far, to reiterate once again, we have switched on the Burp proxy, right? If you get into proxy options, proxy is listening in the port 8080. What we need to do is that we need to make our client. What is the client here? Browser. Browser to point it to or to listen to this proxy so that we will be able to catch the traffic or intercept the traffic effectively. So what we have done for that, go to Mozilla tools options or any web application tools options, go to settings. In this you have got manual proxy configuration. Give this local host or the IP address. This is the IP address of the local host, and also give this port because this is the port in which Burp proxy is listening to. So how the traffic now goes, we will access any web page. Whenever we access it, it goes through proxy and then it hits the web server. Again, whatever has been done by the web server, it comes to proxy and then it goes back to browser. Alright, fine. We will do this google.co.in once more. Moment we try to access it, what happens? Okay, if you see here, it blinks and see the color of the proxy. It means that it has intercepted successfully. It has intercepted successfully. Now what we will do is that we will analyze the packets of data. We will analyze the packets of data. This is related to what we have discussed yesterday. My dear friends, I think you would have had a better understanding of what is HTTP and HTTP's protocols are. Okay, the reason for yesterday's session is the basics of today's session. Whatever the output of yesterday's session has become the input of today's session for our practical usage. See, we have intercepted the request. Now we will analyze the packet of data. What it is doing is get. Get is the method that we have seen, right? And HTTP 1.1 is the version. And google.co.in is the host. User agent is the agent who initiates this particular request. I'm using Firefox 21 and Windows NT, all those things. So user agent is the agent who initiates the request. Okay, then what is this accept? Accept tag is text or HTML accept. First thing what it would do is that it will try to, it accepts either text or HTML as the packet of data. You can see here application, or else it can have application with XHTML and XML, or it can have application and XML. So what it means that web server instructs or tells the data that it is trying to fetch the data in any of these formats. Okay, and accepted language ENUS, and accepted encoding. You accept this encoding is gzip or deflate. Okay, we will see these encoding, encryption, and also cryptography or little bit of passwords about that in the upcoming sessions in detail. You can also see the cookie preference. Cookie preference, what is the cookie all about, and then connection keep alive. Yesterday what we have seen as a property of HTML or HTTP is that it is a stateless protocol. Once we give the request, the server forgets. The server processes the data. So what we have seen yesterday, it is a stateless protocol. Client gives this request, it forgets or it disconnects from the web server. Web server again connects it back to the browser and also process the request. After processing it request, it is going to hit the browser. That's what it usually happens. So whenever we say connection keep alive, there are two things with parameters that you can use as a part of connection. Connection closed. Closed means the communication between the server and web server and your browser has been closed. In the sense, next time you need to reinitiate the connection. Okay, it's all done in the backend. So this is what we need to understand as a part of the Burp proxy usage. Okay. The next thing is that it can also have a parameter as keep alive. Keep alive means it will keep accepting the request. Okay, it will keep accepting the request using the identifier, session identifier. This is the session identifier here. Okay, and keep alive is it keeps alive for all the requests till the certain point. What is the certain point? It can also have a keep alive session timeout. At times it also comes up with a session timeout for even keep alive. Keep alive session timeout, say 100 seconds, 5. It can handle 5 requests but a maximum of 100 seconds, something like that. So we have intercepted the packet. What we need to do now is to forward it to the web server. So what we have done is that we have intercepted the traffic. Now we need to forward it to the web server so that we are able to access the page. If you drop it, it will abruptly stop. It is nothing but stopping, clicking on stop in your web browser. It will drop the request. So forward. So once I forward it, what happens? It is trying to get all the details. See here, till we fetch the complete packets of data, it tries to fetch the complete page. Okay, I have reinitiated the complete page. This, whatever the page that you are seeing right now is the previous request's successful message handling part. So in order to accept or in order to understand it better, what we will do, we will drop it. We will reopen one more. So I will just type google.com. So what happens now? It goes on and on and on till we completely receive all the packets of data. Okay, this is the first packet. We'll forward it and then forward it. So what happens here now? It is trying to use post method for some specific activity. Okay, post method for some specific activity. This is the header. This is the message header that we are still seeing. All the data that are transmitted so far are all headers. Okay, forward. Now what we are seeing is the response from the server itself. What is the response? This is the response from google.co.in. Okay, what is the HTTP version that we are using? 1.1. 200 okay means success of any kind. Yesterday we have seen this. 200 okay, 2xx. Whatever the status that starts with 2xx stands for success of any kind. Date. What is today's date? And expires. Cache control. And what is the content type? It is a text and a HTML. And then what is the cookie preference? And x-axis protection, x-frame. So all these things we will deal in detail, each one of these. Okay. Right now, what is the other thing that we need to note down here is the content length. Okay. Content length is 99304. If you see here, the complete content of what you are seeing is the size is 99304. characters, or 99304 is the size of the packets delivered. One more important thing that we need to note down here. Yesterday we have seen there may be one or zero or more headers. There are zero or more headers followed by a blank line, and then there is a message body. This is the message body of the message, and also we have got the size of the contents. Alright, we forward it. So still now if you see here, we are still trying to access the page. The reason is the intercepted, whatever we have intercepted is still with the browser or proxy. Now we need to forward the response, so that we will be able to we will forward all the packets now. Okay, we will forward all the packets of data, so that we are able to navigate to the page. Now see here, we are able to navigate. So all the packets we have intercepted. Now the next thing that we need to understand is that how to use this in a sample application. Okay, we can also go to options, and we can see where we can actually use, or for what are all the requests that you can use. See, intercept requests based on following rules. What it means that I don't want to actually use the proxy for all the websites. I will have one particular website for which it should act as a proxy. We can use that as well. We will just see in a moment. This is all about Burp proxy, in the sense, the very basic thing about Burp proxy. I am happy to hear if you have got any questions. Team, please post your questions in the chat channel, so that I will be able to address the questions if you have got any. I hope the concept is very straightforward and clear. Right? Fantastic. I have not got any questions. Let's keep moving on. I assume that you are all clear on the aspect that we have dealt so far. Okay, this is the very basic stuff. Please understand, only with this we will be able to move forward. Okay, or else it would be a kind of Greek and Latin for us. Fantastic. Okay, let's keep moving. This is the Burp proxy. We have intercepted the request. Fantastic. Now what we will do is that, as a next step, we don't want to intercept all the traffic. We will install a sample application and start working on that particular application, and we will intercept that traffic alone. Okay. Now, what is the sample application that we are going to use? We will see in a minute. Before that, we will also understand Burp Suite is just one of the tools that is available in the market for us to use as a proxy server or as a web proxy. There are other tools like Fiddler, Web Scarab, or the other tools with having the same functionality. We can use even these things for our intercepting the HTTP requests, HTTP traffic. We are good to go? Fantastic. So with respect to Burp proxy, we will keep exploring, but how to download, how to install, how to configure is what we have seen so far. Fine. What is the application under test? The application under test, or the application what we would be using, is WebGoat. WebGoat is the application that we would be using. The application is available in Google Codebase. Okay, we will go to this particular website. Okay, Google Codebase. Okay. Now what you need to do here is that there is a winstandard32.zip, right? You have to download this one. Once you download in Windows, especially in Windows, it is a very straightforward installation. Okay, if you just download it, you will have this zip file. Okay, you can unzip it, and then you can see all these folders. Okay, you can use all these folders. Now, how to actually install the application? There is nothing great in installing the application. What you need to ensure that is, there are no other applications running in port 80. What we will do is that, you can see here webgoat.bat file. we will ensure that first thing, for installing the application, for installing WebGoat, we need to ensure that there are no other applications running in port 80. So the application would be running in port 80 and Burp Suite is listening to port 8080. For the people who don't know the very basic concept, only one port can be used for one application. Okay, one port for one application to listen. So our sample application is listening in the port 80 and Burp proxy is listening in the port 8080. So first you need to ensure that there are no other applications running in the port 8080 and just double click this batch file. Okay, if you don't have the Tomcat, it will launch and it automatically installs. Whereas I already have my Tomcat installed, so I will just launch it the way I want to. But for all other people, you can directly launch it by double clicking the batch file. Get into the vulnerability applications and then WebGoat. Yeah, this is the double click the batch file. You will be able to see that the Tomcat or whatever it is, it would be start listening to the port, or it would be installing your application on the specific port 80 and it would be start listening on one of the ports. Now what we need to do is that once you install it, how to access it. Okay, this is what, so once you extract and run.bat file, during this there is one disclaimer. What is that? Point to be noted. What is that? We need to ensure that there are no other applications running in the port 80. Fine. So that is for default. So I have configured for my machine in the port 8181. Okay. So please don't get confused if I use some other port. You can configure it in any other port. Okay. But let's make it very simple. So now how to access this? How to access our installed application? See here, localhost port number /webgoat/attack. Please note that these are all case sensitive. WebGoat, attack, all these things are case sensitive. So we need to be careful when trying to access the application. Now, if we just try to access it, let's see what happens. Let's switch off the intercept for a while. So let's get into WebGoat/attack. Okay, it pops up with the username and password. Okay, it pops up with the username and password. What is the username and password? It is guest and guest. Okay, user ID is guest and password is guest. We will log in as a guest account. We can also log in as a WebGoat administrator, but right now we will use a guest account for hacking our application. Okay, we don't want to have the highest privilege. Okay, where to see those things? Just get into that application folder. There is a Tomcat folder. Inside this you have configurations. Inside this you have got Tomcat users. You right click, edit with Notepad++. You can add the user and the roles here. Okay, see here, guest role is a WebGoat user, whereas the user WebGoat is having an admin access. What we are using right now is a WebGoat user. Let's be very clear on this. What is the username that we are using? Guest, and then role is a WebGoat user, just a user. Fantastic. So we will just close this. Fine, we can configure this on any port, but we will make it very simple. You just double click on this particular webgoat.bat and then just come and start accessing the application using the port. Like you have to give 80 here, just 80. Whereas my port is listening to 8181. WebGoat is listening to 8181. Fine. Now what is the next step? Next step is to ensure that our application is listening to or added to the scope of Burp proxy. I don't want to intercept all the traffic. Right now, what is the proxy setting of Mozilla? What is the proxy setting that I have used? I have used 8080. Whatever is the traffic that is diverted through 8080, I would be capturing, right? But I need to have an exception, or I'm interested in capturing the traffic of this particular web page alone. So what I need to do is that go to target. Okay, target. So we need to add this localhost 8181 to the target, add to the scope. So if you get into the scope, see here, we have already added it, remove. So localhost 8181 is there in the target scope. If it is not there, you can just go to sitemap, right click, add to target scope. So for example, this one I haven't added. For example, google.com, right click, add to scope. So if you have already added it, then it would show as remove from scope. Simple. So if you get into scope, you can see that this particular local host, we are listening to the port 8181. We are just interested in this particular web page alone. This is our application under test. We are worried about only intercepting this particular traffic. We don't want all the traffic. For example, if I type google.com or yahoo.com, it should not intercept the traffic, right? If you see here, let's forward 1 second. It is actually intercepting everything now, yahoo.com. So we should ensure that we are not intercepting all the traffic. So what we need to do is that we need to have a filter, right? So if you get into target, we have added the scope. That's okay. Just the scope is fine. But have you instructed the Burp suite to actually focus on what is there in the scope? No, we have not done that. So what we need to do, what has happened right now? I have added this local host to the scope. That is fine. But I have not instructed Burp suite to actually use what is there in the target scope only. Okay. So what we will do is that, and URL is in target scope. We need to add this as a criteria to intercept the request. Okay. There are two things that we need to understand. One, our particular URL should be in the target scope. In the sitemap, we have added this particular localhost 8181 to our target scope, right? And then we need to instruct Burp suite to use or to intercept the requests only based on the target scope. So whatever there is in the target scope, only those traffic would be captured. Okay. Now I have enabled this. See here, you ensure that this is enabled because we have to intercept the client request. Okay. And the similar thing is there for the response also. So intercept client response. See here, intercept server responses. We have two things here to understand. Okay. Again, these things are very basic things. That's the reason why I have been stressing over again and again. From client to the proxy, we have to intercept. Similarly, from server back to proxy, we need to intercept. So we need to ensure that our rules related to our intercepts are correct. What is the rule that we are using? The file extension. So for every file such as JPEG, GIF image, PNG, these are all image files, right? We don't want to capture these traffic because those are all image downloads. For example, if you see, these are all image downloads. For every image it will download them. Okay. So we will not be interested in that traffic. So we will ensure that we are not focusing on that particular traffic. And URL is in target scope. So what is there in the target? We have already added this local host in the target scope. Fine? Fantastic. So the same setting is what I have applied for the server side also. File extension. I am not interested in this file extension responses. What I am interested in, whatever the URL is in target scope, I am interested in those responses only, not all the responses. So we need to ensure that our proxy is configured properly. So intercept, we will just switch off the intercept and again switch it on. Now what we will do is that we will try to access some other page. For example, let's say ncalculators.com. Okay. See here, now the traffic should not be diverted through proxy. The reason is that is not in our scope. See, it has loaded successfully and proxy has not intervened anything. Though intercept is on, proxy has not intervened in this particular request. The reason is this particular ncalculators.com is not in target scope. What is there in the target scope? Only 81, localhost 8181 is in the target scope. Fine. Great. So whatever we do in this particular localhost 8181, it would be captured in Burp proxy. Okay, let's start WebGoat. See here, because it's 8181, it started blinking. You can see here, Burp suites were started blinking. Okay, let's get into Burp suite. Go to proxy, go to intercept. See here, we have just sent a packet of data. What is that? Post WebGoat method and then start plus WebGoat. We have clicked on this button, right? Start equal to start plus WebGoat. We will forward this request. We have also got the response. What is the response? Success message, and also we have got the complete content length. This is the body of the message. This is the header and blank line followed by a body of the message. So we have got the body of message. Once you forward it, you will be able to see the screen here. Okay, so we have successfully installed the sample application also, and we also have learned how to capture the traffic or intercept the traffic from a particular website or by adding it to a scope. So I would like to hear from you all if you have got any questions. Okay, a lot of questions. Okay, how Burp proxy work if browser is configured with another proxy like a company's internal proxy server? Fantastic question. You need to bypass your company proxy and then use your local Burp proxy so that you can test your application under test. Alright, you have to bypass your local company proxy, remove that particular proxy settings and add a proxy as a Burp suite proxy and start using it for your internal application testing purpose only. Do not access any other web pages outside your proxy. You install the proxy and install your application and just access your application. That's it. Do not browse other banned websites. That is legal in any company. That's how security testing would be carried out in any organization, because without bypassing your local web proxy that is in an organization, we will not be able to perform security testing. Okay, sounds good. Hope I have answered your question. There is one more question. Is there a 64-bit version of WebGoat or would be a 32-bit version? Yeah, fantastic. So there is no 64-bit or 32-bit. Okay, it is a web application that we are installing. It is a Tomcat web. The web server that our application uses is the Tomcat. Okay, it has nothing to do with the 64-bit or 32-bit. You can just double click on that the BAT file that I have shown just now for installing the WebGoat. Okay, but for it to successfully install, one more prerequisite. Sorry, I haven't discussed this while first time installing it. You need to have Java installed on your machine. You need to ensure that Java installed on your machine. That is the basic prerequisite, because I think Java would be installed on everyone's machine, because even some of the web pages would be loaded only if we have Java, right? So Java is a prerequisite. I hope I have answered your question. Shall we keep moving on? Fantastic. So now comes the challenging part of today's task. What we have discussed so far today as per the agenda, see here, to just reiterate, we have just discussed about the web application proxy. We have also installed the sample application. Now it is the time for us to perform hands-on. I hope you're all excited to perform a hands-on. This is also a very interesting topic, very interesting topic to discuss. Parameter tampering. Okay, we are going to perform a parameter tampering on the application that we have installed just now. Okay, what is parameter tampering? We have seen yesterday, and also we have also seen that parameters may be a part of URL. Okay, parameters may be a part of URL. For example, if I click on parameter tampering URL, okay, first thing is bypass HTML field validation, immediately proxy blinks. The reason is we have intercepted forward. Yep. Now what we have got is that, see here, this particular URL has changed to screen 51 menu 7 and 1700. What is this? This is a parameter of a URL parameterization. They have used URL parameterization. There is one more parameter. What are all, whenever you are filling a forms field, okay, this is a form, right? For example, if you are adding, or when you are filling a registration form like name, email ID, all those things, name, email ID, whatever the things that you want to add, you can add it, and then you click on submit. All right, what happens is that it would be accepted as a parameters. Let's see now. For example, these are all the fields. Let's first understand the question before going to the question. So first thing is to understand the question. The form below uses HTML form field restriction. What is a HTML form field restriction? This, if you see here, we can choose either foo or bar, right? Similarly, there is a radio button. Radio button, what is that we can choose? Foo or bar. There is a checkbox which we are forced to check or uncheck only this particular checkbox with the name check. Next thing is that we have also got an input field restricted to 5 characters. Input field restricted to 5 characters. Then there is also a disabled input field. The input field is disabled, and there is also a submit button. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 fields, including submit button. We have got 6 fields. We need to bypass this HTML field restrictions using our proxy, or we need to tamper these inputs. How to do that? Okay, that's the first question. Before that, let's just try to click on submit button. Let's see what happens. Your Burp proxy blinks. Listen here carefully. What we have got here, select foo. What is that? This is the drop down list that we have selected foo. That's what it is shown here. Radio button. Radio is foo. Radio button is foo. That's what we have selected. And checkbox, we have checked this checkbox on. The name of the checkbox is checkbox. So checkbox on. That's okay. Then we also have got an input field. So name of the input field is short input, and we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the parameter, right? Parameter, okay. And disabled input field. Disabled input field, submit equal to submit. You see here, this is the action. Fine. Now we will analyze this packet of data. What we are doing is that we are posting. Post is a method to fill a form or post a particular data to the server. We are using the post method. Alright, we are trying to use the post method to post the data into the server. And what data that we are posting is, these are all the data or the parameters or the data that we are trying to post. One more thing, we are also seeing this content length of 63. You can see the length of this particular content may be 63. And then we also have the same thing like host. Who is the host here? Local host 8181 is the proxy or the application with which the WebGoat is listening to. User agent, accept, and what is the cookie, authorization, all those things are there. Fine. So we will just forward it. And you have got a success message. Click OK. Now what happens? Nothing happens. We have not bypassed it. For us to bypass, what we need to do? Let's click on submit button once more. We analyze the packet of data. What is one missing piece of information here? How many fields are here? We need to first understand that. We are having one. That is, this particular thing is a drop down. Okay. Second thing is the radio button. Third thing is a checkbox. Fourth thing is a short input field. And fifth is the submit button. What about one more field? One more field is a disabled input field which is hidden. You see here, it is hidden. So we need to actually unhide, try to get the details of the hidden input field. How to do that? The next thing is to install. There is one more tool which will assist us in doing this. That is Firebug. What is the other tool that we are going to use? Is that after installing is the Firebug. Firebug is a Firefox plugin that is used to see what are all the contents of this particular page. Okay, this is the Firebug. Firebug icon looks like this. If you want to see what is there in the Firebug, right click on this and then inspect element with Firebug. I think the same thing you would have used while automating Selenium, while automating your application using Selenium. Okay, you might have installed Firebug. Okay, now listen carefully. What are all the things that we are seeing right now? Is that selection window. See here, selection window has got option as foo and bar. Fantastic. Then we have also got the input field as the radio button, and also the name of the value is foo. That's what we have got. Okay, and then we have got a checkbox. Checkbox is checked, and we have also got a 5-character input field. Maximum length is 5. Short input value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That also we have seen in the while we intercept the proxy. Right. Now the next thing is, this is the thing that is being hidden. If you see here, it will show the hidden fields also when you are trying to get the details using Firebug. What we are trying to see is that HTML form of the particular web page is what we are seeing. So it can nowhere escape. It has to display us the fields that are there in the web page. Okay. If you are able to see in the web page, if you are unable to intercept using your proxy, then it is obviously should have it in the HTML design. Right click, view as HTML, or you can use this Firebug as a tool. What is the field name? Field name is a disabled input. Okay, field name is a disabled input. I will just put it in a notepad. Disabled input. And what is that in the disabled input? Value is disabled. It's okay. What is the value? Value is disabled. So equal to disabled. That's what we have seen just now, right? You see here, value is disabled. Disabled input field. Okay. Now the idea behind this particular exercise is to bypass the field validations. How you can bypass? In this particular drop down, we should not select these two. Okay, we should pass other than these two parameters. Okay, for us to bypass this drop down, what we need to ensure that we are not passing any of these two values, foo or bar. By that way, we can bypass this combo box values. The same thing holds good for radio button also. How we can bypass this value? We can bypass this by selecting apart from anything else other than foo and bar. Now the HTML restricts you from doing or selecting a particular field. Checkbox is on or off. It can have the status either on or off. If you have a status apart from on or off, then we can bypass the checkbox field. Similarly, what is there for this 5-character limit input field? If you have more than 5 characters, we can bypass this particular input field. Very simple, isn't it? There is also a disabled input field and value is disabled. How we can bypass this? We can bypass it by enabling it. Here it is a disabled, input field itself is disabled. We can bypass it by enabling it or using any other things apart from using the value as disabled. Okay, and submit button. What we are doing in submit button? In submit button, action is submit. If we are using anything apart from that, we will bypass that validation. Okay, what we will do now is that we need to bypass all the 6 fields. We have just got 5 fields in it. Okay, we need to add the disabled input field also, isn't it? Now we will add that, and then we will pass this as the input. That is the use of proxy. We have intercepted, we will manipulate, we will tamper the input and pass to the server. Okay. Now, what is the idea behind this particular exercise? We need to bypass. Right now we have discussed how to bypass. We need to have the value in this particular select box apart from the values foo and bar. So let me say I will just have the value as 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Radio button also, it can have the values foo and bar. So, but I will just take, for example, X, Y, Z. Checkbox can take a value on or off, right? We have seen just now. Checkbox can either on or off. But what we will do is that, let's say something 66. Something that we need to break. We are trying to break here. Okay. Short input. What is the short input field all about? It should have just 5 characters. We should have a 6 character limit. So I will just add one more character. Now it is having a 6 characters. Alright. Disabled input field is disabled. What we will do is that we will probably enable it or have some other value. If we are just clicking on submit button, will we be able to change the value? We will not be able to change the value because it is disabled. Whereas by intercepting it through proxy and tampering the input, we can achieve some kind of control over the inputs. So submit, let's say, I will not say action as submit. Let's say submit, instead of action as submit, let me call it as something else. Some junk value I am passing. Okay, some junk value I am passing. So I will pass this as the parameter. Okay, I will pass this as the parameter instead of instead of the input that we have. Okay, undisabled input field and submit. Okay, now we will just forward this packet because we have tampered with the input, right? We will forward this packet. We have got the result. We will forward the result also. Now let's come back and see what has happened. See here, congratulations, you have successfully completed this lesson. Okay, we have tampered all the fields simultaneously, and we are able to select things apart from the selection list that has been provided here. This is a HTML field restriction that particular website has provided, but we have breaked it into pieces so that we have broken it and penetrated into the system without using the values which the user are forced to do. Clear? Clear so far? Are we all on same page? I think my explanation is straightforward, right? Fantastic. So any questions from any one of you? Any questions from any one of you? Fantastic. Though it's we are nearing to the end of the training, we will complete this and then we will leave. I will just take 10 more minutes to do the other exercises. We will also simultaneously do the what I would suggest to you is from next session onwards, you will have your application installed parallelly. We will both simultaneously understand how to tamper it. You can also try and tamper it side by side so that you understand the context and also understand the concepts clearly. Okay, fine. So yeah, I would like to actually give you an overview. Sorry, I should have told how the application would be. This particular application is a kind of application that is built for hacking purpose. Okay, once it's hacked, it will show as what is the positive. So you will get this particular message once you complete it or once you successfully hack it. And also you can see this particular completion, lesson completion icon over your left. So this is for learning purpose. I'm seeing someone is asking after changing the inputs why the page is still displaying, right? This is for a learning purpose. The application has been built. So after you bypass all the things, it will accept how you have bypassed, it will parse it, it will analyze, and if you have bypassed everything, it will show the message here, or else it will still show the same page without showing any success message. Okay, this is a application that is developed just for hacking, just for understanding the hacking. So once we complete each one of these lessons, we will be able to get this message. Clear? Fine. And I got one more question. What is the point of bypassing? Is this meant for ethical hacking and would confirm how secure the system is? Exactly. The point of bypassing is if you are able to bypass. This is a client-side validation, isn't it? It's a client-side HTML validation. It's all restricted using the HTML fields. This is a combo box. In the field, you can select only 2. Radio button, you can select only 2 values. Checkbox is allowing you to choose either on or off. If you bypass it, what is the side effect is what we are checking at the moment. If your server is able to handle that request properly, it should not allow the user to tamper the input. If your server is able to handle, or if your server accepts anything else apart from that, then your application is vulnerable. Very simple terms. See, these validations are in the client side, that is the browser side, right? If the same restriction, or if the same restriction, if you don't check it on the server side, you will be able to bypass this or tamper the input and send it to the server, and server blindly will accept it. By that way, you are ensuring that your inputs are not malicious. It should not be malicious, right? You should accept the fields or data what is intended to accept. It should not be using anything else apart from the ones that is expected from the web server. So what is there for developers from this context? They should also ensure, though you have the client-side validation, you should also ensure that you should have a server-side validation in place for certain things. A quick replica of server-side validation. Okay, fine then. Let's keep moving ahead. Next thing in our list is exploit hidden fields. So moment I click on this, again Burp proxy blinks. What that means, we have intercepted the request successfully. We are getting a particular web page, keeping alive. So this is the header that is being passed. Forward it. We have got a success message with the length this one, and this is the body of the message. Okay, we will forward this back down. So what we should have got the next exercise. Okay, what is the next exercise for us? It is a very interesting one. We all do online shopping, isn't it? We all do online shopping. So what is the exercise all about? Try to purchase the TV for less than the purchase price if you have not done so already. So what we are trying to do here is, we are trying to purchase a TV less than the purchase price. What is the purchase price here? 2,999. Okay. So how to actually do that? So what we will do, we will click on purchase. Moment we click on purchase, what happens? Quantity equal to 1, submit equal to purchase. That is this is what it is. What we are submitting, the purchase type of input, and price equal to this value. Okay, what they are trying to say is that try to tamper the input. So what we are trying to do is that we are tampering the input. So this is the input that is going to hit to the web server successfully if we don't tamper it. Okay, if I just forward it, we will get a message. Okay, this is the response from the server. Let's forward that as well. Let's see here. It has not caused any harm in it because we have not screwed up the inputs, right? We have not screwed up the inputs. What is the idea behind this exercise is to get the TV less than this quoted price. Okay. In online shopping, whenever we are doing a shopping, what happens at times? What happens, or what we can have as an analogy is that if you try and tamper this particular input field after catching the request in the using your proxy, how it behaves. Okay, purchase. Now what we are seeing here is that quantity 1, submit is purchase, price is 199, 2999.99. Let us say, let's try to actually get it for 99.99. Okay, let's forward this request to the server. What it might interrupt, or what it might interpret as, okay, quantity is 1, purchase is this type, price is, this is what I need to charge. Okay, it might interpret as this is what I need to charge if you have not got the server side validations. So let's forward this. We have got the response also. Let's forward this also. Now let's see what has happened. See here, congratulations, and you have completed successfully this session. Your total price is 9.99. What we have done here, we have tampered the input and we have got a TV for less than the quoted price, which is not expected out of us, right? This is not expected out of us. Okay, so what we need to understand the context here, we should not be in a position to tamper the price, final price. What they need to do, they need to ensure that similar server side validations are in place. What this parameter tampering does is that it performs the tampering of parameters in the client side of it. Okay, so what is very obvious from this exercise is that they do not have server side validation. Server blindly accepts this as an input. I can even put as 0.01, still it will accept. Okay, but just that we need to have something charged on our card so that it will pass our amount to the payment gateway. Okay, here the payment gateway and all not there because it's a sample application. In reality, if we don't have the validations, proper validations in place, what happens? It will you will be diverted, or you will be redirected to the payment page with this $99.9.99 instead of $2,000. Okay, this is the way that we have bypassed the input. So this type of coding is injurious or it's vulnerable. It is not recommended. We should ensure that we have the server side validation in place. If we have a server side validation, it is difficult for us to tamper because this is all client side validation. Client is browser here. In browser, we are tampering as much as we can. We have tampered the data. One more way of using or tampering the data is there is a plugin in Mozilla. See here, there is a plugin in Mozilla with which we can also tamper the data. Tools, tamper data. Okay, you can see here, tamper data, start tampering. And if you just click on purchase, tamper. Okay, see here, tampering the data, there is a plugin. Okay, we will use so many tools and techniques. Okay, as and when it comes, I will just tell you. Tamper data or tamper pop-up is a Firefox plugin. Again, you can use it for your tampering purposes. See here, it shows you clearly what is the header and what are all the parameter names. Okay, submit price. Again, if I give 0.01, okay, click OK and submit. Okay, what happens? So it goes to the proxy because all our traffic is diverted through proxy. Without proxy also you can do it. Continue tamper, no, submit. Submit, request. So you can continue to tamper or you can abort the request. So what we have done is that successfully we have got. So when you are trying to use the tamper data, you can switch off the intercept. We can switch off the intercept and we can directly tamper it using the tamper data plugin. So this is the tamper data and you can start tampering it and then tamper your inputs. Great, we have got it. Let's move to the next particular. There are two other validations in place. I think in the interest of time, we will wrap it up for the day because it will take much more time and needs lot of inputs for those two exercises as well. Before we wrap up, I would like to tell you two things. Two demo sessions are complete now. I hope you are all excited for the next challenge or next set of hands-on as well as of the theoretical sessions. I think that will keep you very interesting. I bet at the end of this session you will be dangerous. In the sense, you can try and hack as many websites as you can, but please use it for legitimate purpose, for internal security testing purpose only. If you start using it in the external websites, you might get caught. So please understand this should be used, these techniques should be used for internal security testing purpose. That is for your internal applications, that is the application under test. Okay, so two demo sessions are over, and please be a part of a premium membership, and then you will reap exponential benefits. I hope these sessions will make a lot of difference in the way it understands. There are a lot of other techniques and tools that coming on your way. We will understand various tools and techniques, but all those tools and techniques I will be able to introduce as and when it comes. If I tell that we are going to use XSS inject me, SQL inject me, you will not be able to understand what those tools are. If I just, now I have introduced Firebug, I have introduced Tamper data, I have also introduced Burp suite. You can relate what is that all about. Whereas if I just say the names, that will not make any sense for us. So now we have got a better understanding of how to start with our security testing, basic setup, and how to intercept the traffic, and what to do the tampering of the input using client-side validations. This is a very good start. So please be part of our premium members, and you can reap exponential benefits, and my inputs will make a lot of difference. I hope you're all excited for the next challenge. So the schedule for the next sessions would be rolled out pretty soon. Please do join us. I hope you all have enjoyed today's session. Thanks a lot for joining, and have a fantastic day, and hope I see you all in the upcoming sessions for premium member sessions. Thanks again. Have a nice day.